Hello again, everybody, for the Independent.com. Here's another version of Bobby Mills Independent Sports Talk, brought to you by Cornhusker Honda Toyota, your only outstate Honda Toyota dealer. Look who we have next to us here tonight, filling in for Jim Langen, Mr. Zach Mayhew, not behind the camera. Mr. Zach, no. Anyway, E-Dub on his right, Eric Williams, glad to have you aboard. We're going to talk a little bit about state volleyball, which is in the books, and then preview each final for state football, which will be next Monday and Tuesday. We're going to let Eric Williams take the lead on the volleyball thing. Like you said, no big surprises, huh?
Not really. I mean, it was really kind of an uneventful Saturday. I mean, you had some nice things. You had Hampton defeat Why Not in the D2. They ended up undefeated with no sets lost at all.
Unbelievable.
25-14, 25-17, 25-16. So they end their season 35-0. Did not lose a set. Great season for Hampton. And then we go up to D1. Johnson Brock beat Meridian in 4 sets, 18-25, 25-12, 25-21, and 25-21. Johnson Brock ends their season 31-4. Meridian 26-6. Now, the one that might have been maybe a little bit of a surprise was C2 with Stanton over Diller Odell. Straight sets, 3 sets. 25-22, 25-23, and 25-20. Stanton ends their season 31-6, and Diller Odell 33-4.
They didn't lose very many, did they?
No.
And they were the number 1 seed. Is that correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Wow.
And then the other C1, the C1 final, Concordia upsets Malcolm. Malcolm was going into this 34-0, lost in straight sets again, 25-22, 27-25. And then 37-35.
I thought that was a misprint. Did you guys? I thought my wife says, that's not right.
37-35 in a 25-point set. Fantastic finish to that. Unfortunately, Malcolm does go out in straight sets. Now, one thing that you really didn't think was going to be a surprise was Class B. We had Scott going into it 41-0 already. They end their season 44-0, but Grand Island Northwest, getting through Gretna, getting through that side of the bracket, phenomenal. Did lose in straight sets, 25-14, 25-19, and 25-13. And now they finish with Class A, and they really did finish with a fireworks show. Millard South pulls out a 5-set win over Papillion La Vista South, and quite a bit of controversy in that 5th set. 15-25, 21-25, 25-18, 25-20, 20-18. So they win the last 3 sets to win the state title. Like I said, a little bit of controversy on one of the points, but fortunately the team that had that go against it ends up winning it, and Millard South ends their season 27-11, and La Vista South 30-11.
Can you fill them in about what happened? Or?
Well, I kind of got the vague idea of what happened. There was a ball that rolled out onto the court, and the gal, instead of continuing the play, decides to catch the ball. Well, that's legal in high school volleyball.
Yeah.
It's not legal in college or VBA. So they rule it as it was illegal. It shouldn't have been ruled that way.
Yeah.
But like I said, at least Millard South ends up winning it, and they end an exciting Class A match.
It was, and I was made aware that neither coach knew that rule either.
Yeah.
And so nobody was getting real upset. Like, okay, but of course that's in different sports. High school is different than college and up on in the pros. But I don't know if anybody's to blame for that. It's just a mistake. Officials all make mistakes and errors. But
you won't make it again, I bet.
No. And to make everybody aware of it's probably a good idea, with a picture in the paper and everything. But it's just one of those rules that they never. And I don't blame the girl. A ball girl let a ball get away. I mean, it's just.
Well, and it's something that you're not used to either. I mean, they're hardly ever televised, and if you go to the state volleyball, you'll see the camera guy, a guy like him, sitting in a chair, and filming it, and the balls are being rolled across on the sideline there.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So I mean, it hits them. It's something you're not used to during the season, and it just rolled out on the court, and luckily nobody got hurt, and like I said, the foul really didn't affect anything in the outcome.
Yeah, it's just like bowling, isn't it?
I've hurled many of those balls that come across.
I saw. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. They roll them back like a bowling alley. So. Well, it was a good, like, uneventful except for that, and everything turned out well, so.
I do want to bring up though, we talked about C1, all season, the St. Paul and Kearney Catholic and that whole conference. It's just unfortunate how that kind of turned out. St. Paul goes out first round. Kearney Catholic just didn't have a great weekend with Bishop Newman, did they?
No.
I mean, they lose both those games on Saturday, or Friday, excuse me. But unfortunate that the turnout wasn't as good because we thought one of those teams would make it in there. But like I said, you still had Hampton and you had Northwest. So
Were you down there, Zach?
I was not, but the St. Paul team, they had one of their key players, she got hurt.
What
in
a
the
horrible
district,
time you were probably, I don't know, it's just, you can't miss one of the Fox girls there. One's 6'1", the other one's 6 foot. So, and then Malcolm surprises everybody. They didn't fear anything. They got in the final, but couldn't close off. I wonder what your Diane Rose, what you tell your team going into play to Scott. I mean, Roar beat him the first set, but I suppose Northwest has got a pretty good volleyball team, but.
And I think really the surprise for them was Gretna. I mean, that set, they win the first set fairly easily, but then Gretna comes back, wins set 2 and 3, and then Northwest had to go 4 and 5 to beat them. But Coach Rose has been in this spot before. I mean, you've had number 1 seed Lincoln Pius that you've gone up against in this, and you've been kind of the underdog, and Pius was kind of the scut back in the day. So I'm sure she got him ready, but again, that's just a tough team to go up against, and it's just not really a good matchup, really, for I don't know of anybody. And I still think they probably could have won Class A if they would have been in it.
I think you're right. That wasn't a David and Goliath thing for sure. So volleyball in the books. Zach didn't go there, so it had to be pretty boring. No, just kidding. But
I was at a Husker game.
All right. They surely see you there, don't they?
Maybe.
Or are there other big guys there too? Yeah, maybe so. All right, we're going to start backwards with state football finals and with 8-man. That's how they do it. Monday they'll start out with D2 at 10:30 in the morning, and then they'll progress to D1. And for some reason, Class A is on Monday night, but we'll just go backwards all the way through D2, D1, and up to A. So, Class D2.
One of the hardest games to watch on TV if you're watching it because they tape off the field.
I know.
You have no idea where they're at really. You have to do the math in your head, which I'm not very good at.
When you keep stats, you're at where's the 50-yard line? Nah. Yeah, I'm the guy that had an 83-yard kickoff return in 8-man football too. Anybody surprised that Falls City Sacred Heart beat BDS in a rematch? Twin Loop beats Sandhills Thedford. Is that a rematch? I'm not sure. Anyway.
I think it was.
I think it was too, and both teams who won previously lost. I was not surprised about Falls City Sacred Heart.
No.
For the simple reason that Zach and I were there in Osceola, and you know what they did? They play a 3-4, and Osceola runs, and he just switched that around. 2 linemen the size of this guy in there, so they do a 4-3, and evidently BDS just couldn't penetrate it. They might have something going there. 2 of the best coaches in the state matched up. Michael Zeal, whose son led the nation in tackles at UNK, Tyke over there. Yeah, man, he eats the 10 penny nails for breakfast. Twin Loop against Sacred Heart. Anybody have any comments on that, Zach? Have you seen Twin Loop or not?
I have not, but
okay, we saw Sacred Heart.
We saw Sacred Heart. Like you said, the 2 big linemen. In Class D2, that's hard to beat when you've got 2 big linemen that you gotta get through.
Yeah, you talked about it last week.
It's just
with size is such a huge difference, and then when you got 2 of those big guys, it doesn't matter what. You can just run student body right, student body left, right behind those guys, and it's going to be tough to do. Now, Twin Loop, on the other hand, I mean, you know what you're going to be going up against. I mean, you know the size, so it's going to be a team effort on the defensive side of how good can you swarm the football and get by those 2 guys and maybe disrupt the play underneath. It's a tough thing to do, but it's still possible, I think. But I'm still probably going to go with Fall Cities over the number 1 seed.
They could throw it too, Zach, and that one big kid doesn't even play offense. I don't think he just brings him in on defense. You leave a 300-pounder on the bench on offense, and I think Doug Goetz knows what he's doing. Sacred Heart looks good to me, but boy, I don't know. Twin Loop's awful tough just because of the way Mike teaches how to play football. You going to be the dissenter and go with anybody? You'll go with Sacred Heart.
I think Sacred Heart just because they beat BDS.
I know. Oh, good.
They're the team to beat always, and
I know. and it's
They're a tough-nosed team.
Oh, I know, and they know. Yeah, they're physical as can be. And then you didn't go to Burwell, did you? I
No,
think so.
unfortunately not.
I was up to Burwell, and Burwell beat 11-0 Palmer. Kind of a heartbreak for the kids there. Guess what? Another rematch.
Yeah.
And Burwell, geez.
And it was almost, and correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it kind of identical to that first game? Burwell got up big.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
Palmer was able to come back in that first one and finally inch it out at the end. But, Burwell just got that lead this time and was able to just hang on there at the end.
And they missed every 2-point conversion Palmer did. I want to compliment Nathan Glaus, Palmer's coach, because there was a couple of controversial calls that maybe should have been 2-point conversions and were good and were called not good. He just came up to me after the game and said, "Bob, we've had things bounce out that way. That's
Yeah.
football." And
Yeah.
away he went.
Yeah, and I'm friends with Nate Glass. We play
Jeez,
fast pitch
man.
softball,
Oh.
and he's just a great guy to be around, and
I
I've
love
learned a
that
lot.
guy.
He's a great guy, and now it's going to go on to wrestling, and look at the talent that he's got ready for wrestling there.
Wrestling / Palmer's not good for the opponents. And then I heard of another sports writer on the sideline. Creighton played West Point Guardian Angels, Central Catholic of the Plain. Well, Creighton's going to score 70 on them. Well, it didn't happen. West Point GACC ended up winning 48-44. Creighton was the favorite coming in. That's going to make Riley Jane Hamilton from the Lincoln Journal-Star and Stu Pospisil very happy because Neely Oakdale, who was not eligible for the playoffs, is sitting at number 1. They can't do anything about it. Stu didn't, and these guys were just, they didn't want Creighton in there because what do you do,
Right.
So now GACC is going to play Burwell. Boy, talk about contrasting styles.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say because Tom Ritter's a great coach up there in West Point. But anybody that beats Creighton this year has to be good. And they can throw and they can run. And this quarterback from Burwell, is Caden Owens, is a pretty good little player. But boy, don't they ever ride Torrey Upman. I mean, did you see Burwell this year? I think.
I went and previewed them, so.
But you saw him a year ago, didn't you? Yeah, oh gosh. And they're making a return trip to Lincoln. So they get another shot at the state title. I'm going to lay off this, and I don't know.
Burwell's got big guys, but
They do.
I think they're a little more one-dimensional than Guardian
They
Angel
are.
is. I mean, it seems to me that Guardian Angel is more balanced, and they played Creighton like you said. It was a track meet of a game, 48-44. So I think I'm going to go Guardian Angel just because of the balance that they kind of show throughout the season.
And the Gideon kid for Burwell's terrific. But I think I don't know if they can give the ball to Huffman 38 times. But we'll see. That's why they play the games, and Burwell wants to win one after losing last year.
I'm going to take Burwell. You can't go against a group of Cowboys.
Boy, you can't. Boy. And what do they call that Memorial Stadium, the lot or big lot or something?
Yeah.
So they're back.
And they're back, so they've been
Well,
there, so the nerves may not be there.
That makes a big difference because I ate with them the night before at the last one, and they were just not used to that. So, yeah, good points. So there you have it on record. We move into 11-man, Class C2, and I'm going backwards to the old one. So, Crofton in the state finals against Wilbur Claytonia, whom we thought most of us all year would win it. Crofton is in that. I don't know how you get through Battle Creek and they beat Valentine. It's just they get beat up all in that mid-states conference, if you will, basketball in football season. But Battle Creek is one heck of a football team, and I looked at the defensive stats. I've seen every team in the state finals that's in there, by the way, except GAC and that's Guardian Angels and Crofton. But they held Battle Creek to nothing, and Battle Creek's a prolific rushing team. Are they going to be able to? And Wilbur Claytonia doesn't have I don't know if anybody stands out on offense, but they've got a big line that I could gain a yard. Forget it. Eric could gain a yard. Zach could gain a whole bunch of them. Anybody think Crofton's got a chance here to? They can't beat you if they can't score on you, but I don't know. They run that tight rugby style double wing offense. Zach, now you probably got to Crofton for quite a few games.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I think if you look down the line, they beat Central City, they beat Valentine, and then you beat, like you said, Battle Creek. So those are some pretty good teams that they beat on the way there.
And they beat Stanton during the season. They've just beaten some good teams, and they'll just run at you like a rugby scrum. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't think Wilbur Claytoni's going to let up. I don't know.
No, but you know, you look at the 11-man brackets that we got for state football this year, and I don't know of another bracket that is so balanced. 1 through 16. I mean, you had Wilbur Claytonia going up against a 16 seed UTAN.
And who made
right. I mean, who made St. Paul look awful in that game. I mean, they just dominated St. Paul that week. And then Crofton, like you guys have said, had beat Valentine and Battle Creek. So 1 through 16, I think, was a phenomenal bracket in high school football here this week. Do I think Crofton can beat Wilbur Claytonia? Absolutely, after what you've seen coming up through this. But again, Wilbur Claytonia is still a top team that had been up there most of the year. That is going to be a tough one to really predict in this deal. I do say that's probably going to be one of your better football games out there this weekend for sure.
You're going to be down there, Zach. I don't know if you film this one, probably. I don't know.
D1, D2.
Okay, well, you'll have some good. Wilbur Claytonia, by the way, was in the state semifinals in Class C1 last year before they ran into SCOTUS. So they know what it's all about. But, yeah, great football game. I can't remember when this one starts. I think it's a morning game on Tuesday when they're predicting rain, and I'm going backwards again. How about C1? Anybody surprised that Kearney Catholic didn't beat Newman? Did anybody think that the Stars could beat Wahoo Newman? You know, it's going to be Newman and O'Neill. I thought maybe Kearney Catholic had a shot.
I'm kind of surprised at the score. I thought Bishop Newman was gonna pull it out, but I did not see a game to where you could rest some guys in the fourth quarter. I mean, 41-17.
That's amazing.
Is the final in that one? O'Neill. We've talked about O'Neill a lot on this show. Do they have enough to maybe get through this Bishop Newman team? I don't know if I can really say that. I think I'm going to have to go with probably Bishop Newman in this game against O'Neill, but O'Neill had a great run this season for sure.
Zach, you've seen neither team, I don't
Right.
suppose, but O'Neill, they just don't make too many mistakes. But I'll tell you, Newman's defense, there's not one weakness anywhere. You can't afford to make a mistake, or you're not going to score points. But this O'Neill team is awful balanced. I did see a little chink in the armor. I shouldn't say it but I did see Boys Town completed some passes underneath the umbrella, what you might call the short passes. I'm sure Brock Eichelberger, O'Neill's coach, is going to address that. But I know that Boys Town unleashed a new offense the week before against Arlington and caught them off guard. So defense, I should say.
And you look at O'Neill against Aquinas. I mean, it was a last-second play with an unbelievable play.
But anybody that beats Aquinas.
I know, but I mean, you got to think that the 9 lives are running out. I think with O'Neill.
Well, you could be right. They're going to be happy to be there. The whole town's going to be there. So if anybody plans on robbing a bank, that'd be probably the time to do it up in O'Neill. But this is going to be a great matchup. Of all the 4 teams that played, that's probably who I hope to be there. Boys Town was a little bit of a Cinderella team. So now, Class B. Does Elkhorn South have any? Wow, who thought that game would be going? Wow. Not 1, not 2, but 3 overtimes in McCook at Wayland Field. Is that right?
Yeah.
And a snap, bobbled snap for an extra point, lost it for the Bison. But was it 44 to 42?
42-41.
Gee, many Christmas. How in the world do you score 41 against Elkhorn South?
Well, again, I think what we talked about last week.
The long trip.
Exactly.
Wow.
I mean, Elkhorn South had to make a 6-hour trek out to McCook to play this game. Longest trip that they've had all season long.
Oh, yeah,
for sure.
Far. York was the closest.
But I tell you what, I think, the one team that can look at that and besides McCook and really be upset is Omaha Skutt. Because you know what? I think that opened the eyes to Elkhorn South that, hey, we're not the team that everybody says we are. We could be beat at any given time. So that might have refocused this Elkhorn South team going into Lincoln this week. So I really would not want to be Skutt right now because I could see this one getting out of hand in a hurry.
I know that the Skutt coaches had informed me that they played like 26 to 28 kids in that last meeting for Elkhorn South, and they actually played 44 to 46 players, so they're deep. They have a lot more kids out for football than Scott does, and it's another rematch, so does that worry? Did Elkhorn South leave it all on the field? I'm not too sure about
that. And that was 33-24 Elkhorn South back in September, early September, so.
And that was on TV, you know, and Scott had them, but that's gonna be a great matchup, and I don't, you know, it's a rematch, but I don't know if you might be able to throw that one out the window. And then the premier matchup on Monday night, we're supposed to have a little rain on Tuesday, by the way. So this will be, wow, this, no wind either, so Omaha, yeah, this, who else is supposed to be in here? No, nobody but Omaha North and Bell West. There's a lot of people that say Bellevue West defense is just not gonna hold Omaha North, but I don't know. Bellevue West has an awful good, they'll have to outscore them. You think it's gonna be high scoring?
Well, if they want to win, they have to outscore them.
Yeah, well, they will have to eventually, yeah.
Quicker on their feet than
It could be 3-0, but, Bellevue West has what, 2 D1 guys in the offensive line? That's pretty salty. And I know that their coach, Coach Huffman, actually thinks he has a legitimate shot at beating Omaha North. Now, that being said, what about Lincoln East giving Omaha North a pretty good ballgame? I know they've got a great dual threat quarterback, which might be an understatement. Is that, what's it, Carson Walters, is that it, or whatever? Did you see that boy play?
Yeah, he played against senior high there.
1,000 yards rushing, 1,000, is he?
He's good. I mean, he's a bigger guy.
Is he the whole team? He's not the whole team.
No, he's not the whole team. They've got some guys on the outside that have some speedsters and stuff like that. But you know, early on in that senior high game, it was just a back and forth deal to where he forced some balls, and that's the one that the Kinney kid had to pick. So he forced some balls out there, but I do think this Lincoln East team was by far the best that Lincoln East has had in a long time. And it was great to see the competitiveness that they had throughout this entire playoff. And, you know, going into Omaha North, nobody's giving you a shot.
Well, no.
41-28. I mean, they probably put maybe the second most points I think North's given up this season.
Absolutely.
So, you know, good for Lincoln East. I will say I do think Bell West at this time, you just kind of looked at what Omaha North had been doing here at the end of the season and Bell West had been doing at the end of the season. And Bell West has got some momentum going, I think, into this postseason.
Did you see that prep score? My gosh, 55-17.
I do think Bell West has some momentum going for him right now. And really, what do you got to lose? Omaha North's got all the pressure on them from throughout the entire state that they're going to be the ones to win it. So all the pressure's on Omaha North. Bell West is going in, playing with house money right now. I do think they can pull the upset on Monday night.
What do you think, Zach? I mean, this is a good football team here. But and one thing before, there are people out there that think this Omaha North team might be the best of all time. I think they're the second best team that North has had. A couple of years ago when Jordan Strong was there, that's probably the best we've had. And a guy like Stu Postasol is going to say they're maybe cracking the top 10. So, I mean, we're going clear back to the 1948 Grand Island team with Bobby Reynolds and all those prep teams. But
I thought you were going to say Bobby Mills.
No, gosh, yeah, right. I mean, they're in the,
Bobby Mills and Bobby Reynolds together.
Yeah, well, they are synonymous, yeah. He had more sideways and backward yards than I did forward. But anyway, that's a good point, Eric. What do you think, Zach? You think the Thunderbirds have a... Well, if they think they can, I think all the pressure's on North, right?
Yes, but you talked about 2 D1 players on Bellevue West.
Well,
but you've got a well-balanced team all throughout. 2 players against a team that's 2 or 3 deep at every position. It's going to be tough.
Again, I will say that if Bell West can keep it close at half, this is a team that hasn't had to play a lot of football in the third and fourth quarters.
And they like to get it tucked away at halftime, don't they? They can do it. They can kill you by. But boy, their quarterback is now starting to throw real well for Bell West, so they don't have to hand it off to Jalen Bradley all the time. I think it's going to be a terrific football game, man. And I wish I could say that they'd have 30,000 people there, but they'll be lucky to have 10. But they'll be noisy. Yeah. So Grand Island didn't play Bell West. They have in the past, but they played North. So you guys have not seen either team, have you? I've seen everybody, but as I said, Crofton and West Point.
I've seen North over the years. I've seen the kids develop, but
But anyway, that is definitely, to me, it's the premier matchup, which it should be. And I don't think it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be a touchdown game. Anybody have any predictions on spreads there? You think?
I'm
I mean,
gonna go 2
there's,
touchdowns.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But I
I
don't
would-
think it's gonna be a blowout.
I would hit probably, if I were setting a spread up, I'd probably have Omaha North probably 8.5, 9.5.
Yep, that sounds like a great deal, but anyway, like I said, they're all next Monday and Tuesday, and, they're all on television too, but man, go down there and take it in. You'll be there Monday, Zach, so what the
It's
heck?
supposed to be pretty warm next
57
week,
for a
so-
high and southeast winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour. This is your weather eye window. So, you know, if you have a chance to get down there, go down. It's a great atmosphere. If you see Zach on the sidelines, you know, telling the girls to get away.
It'll actually be your last chance to watch football in Nebraska because the Huskers will be done.
That's, you know, when you leave the stadium, that does get you right. There isn't any more football. They lock it up.
Well, there's danger, but that's not until
That's
later.
late February before that gets going.
Oh, we can't get South End this year.
Almost had a tear.
Yeah, I did, and I thought at the end of this football segment that my daughter Erin might let the dogs down so they could make their appearance, but we're not going to do that tonight. So anyway, I'd like to thank Zach Mayhew for sitting in and doing a terrific job as usual, Eric Williams, and for Jimmy Langan, who had to be filled in for tonight, was busy. So we're going to take a week off next week, and then we will begin after Thanksgiving, the week after, with a preview of the basketball segment of our Bobby Mills Independent Sports Talk, and hopefully maybe Big Zach will sit in one more time and give us your basketball.
I don't know.
This
anything
man
about
was a
basketball.
great player at Wood River, so that would be great inside information that we'd have from him. So,
You're an outside shooter, weren't you?
That's right. That's right. I shot 1 3 in my career.
and it went in, didn't
No. It was sub districts. The last
He
game.
immediately got
Last
benched
game.
right after that.
Anyway, yeah, well, we can cover that during basketball. So anyway, for Cornhusker, Toyota, Honda, Eric Williams, Zach Mayhew, we'll see you we'll take a week off, see you the week after Thanksgiving. For theindependent.com, this is Bobby Mills. Catch you next time for a little roundball.